Hello and greetings, fellow StarCrafters. PGL Milncraft here with a 1 vs 1 between the blue Zerg player JulyZerg and the red Protoss player MOUZMana. This map is going to be Terminus RE. It's one of the first runs of GSL maps. It's a very big map. I'm sure most of you are familiar with it. We can go over a little bit of the specifics. There's a full expansion here with a full 8 mineral patches, which is what most starting expansions have. You see 8 mineral patches here, and then there is a smaller expansion here, which on some map versions has a rich Vespene geyser, and this is just a regular Vespene geyser. And on this version of the map, there's a rocks into the third expansion. But other than the rocks, there's just one main entryway that enters into the into each position, and then there's 4 watchtowers which guard each of the entryways into the bases. And so, very big map, very macro-oriented, so we should be seeing a long and very good macro-oriented game. I would like to talk about a bit of the players before the action picks up too much. JulyZerg, he is an incredibly good player. He's a very successful Brood War player, and now he's grown to be successful as well. He's made it to the finals of the GSL, which is the most prestigious tournament in Korea. And by the way, both these players are in fact Korean. He defeated, he was in what was called like the group of death, because he was in a group, in his initial group stage of MC, him, and MVP, and MVP was just coming off his recent GSL win as well. And he's very, July is just so interesting to watch because he is a super macro-oriented Zerg player. He will get drones and drones and drones and drones, and then at some point he will decide that it's time to attack. And when he makes that decision, he doesn't build any more drones. He builds attacking units constantly, attacking units, just wave after wave after wave into his opponent. He never lets them recover until they're either dead or the game ends. MOUZMana, he's a little bit of a smaller player on Mouse. Those of you know MOUZMana is the same team. And I don't really know that much about his style. I don't know if it's that special. I could talk about a couple of the tournaments. He's won a bunch of smaller tournaments. There's a ESO Go for SC2 Cup. He's also won the Cyborg Cup a couple of times and done well at some other tournaments. He's a very good player as well. I just happen to not know him as well because I tend to follow the GSL more, and especially players who do really well at the GSL, such as JulyZerg. That's just why I happen to know more about JulyZerg. We do see that JulyZerg is going for the gas than spawning pool, 14 gas, 13 pool build. This is because there's a probe in his base they couldn't really deal with. He wouldn't have been able to drop the hatchery. Still just tried to drop the hatchery there. The probe's still playing around, dancing around, and trying to stop that hatchery, but he's going to get eaten by a Zergling pretty quick, and boom! Poor probe. Poor probe, sacrificed just to delay the hatchery slightly. I know that I wouldn't want to go down for a cause like that, but the probe doesn't get much of a choice because this big figure from the sky told him to do it, and thus he must. Which, by the way, how weird would it be if there was like some weird commander like watching over us and like commanding us to do things? It's not like a god thing. Like, I'm talking about like like a general. Like a general being like, "I see you. Move forward. Attack. Sacrifice yourself, Zergling." I'd be like, "No, I'm not going over there. There's a mothership. I saw the mothership. No, get out of here." It just seems like some of the, especially like the the forces that have their own kind of autonomy, like Marines, should have a little bit more protection, and that Zergling just got splattered by the little, I don't know, the little flashlight or tractor beam, whatever you think it is. Mo's building another gateway here. We'll see if he puts a third one down. He might actually be going for a 2-gate expansion. It's possible he's also going to get a robo as soon as he gets enough gas. I guess we're about to find out. Nope, he's going for the expansion, 2-gate expansion. Now, this is a build, oh wait. Oh, no, my bad. There was a 3rd gateway. Alright, so it's a 3-gate expansion. I was going to say, I've seen Protoss players expanding off of 2 gates a lot more recently, taking just a little bit more of that risk. But it's possible you didn't want to take that risk. Also, it's good to start cranking out the sentries as early as possible so they can build up their energy. And since this is under the newest patch, by the way, but since sentries build so much faster, it's possible he wants to build sentries out of the new gateways. Of course, he's not building sentries right as I say that, so I guess I'm not correct about that. Scaring away that probe from that that Zergling from that probe. My bad. The Zergling is just going to dance around here. He's going to take the watchtower and just kind of sit there. You can see that Ooh, 12 Zerglings. I wonder if these are... this is probably just a defensive force is what I would say, to prevent any sort of 3-gate push from the Protoss player dealing a whole lot of damage. We just see a Roach Warren going down, and then we see Hallucination on the part of MOUZMana. The reason he's getting Hallucination is primarily for scouting, so that he can get some Phoenixes and just fly around. If you don't get a Robotics right away, it can be very difficult to scout as the Protoss player, as you see that the Zerglings are able to just pick off any probes that you send trying to go down and scout. You see these Zerglings are moving in here, starting to start working on that disruptible debris. Unfortunately, it has 3 armor. It's actually heavier debris than most. And that Zergling's gonna... oh, nope, he's gonna slide on out of there. And actually, we do see... yep, the... oh, no, 7 sentries. I was gonna say the standard 6 sentries, but that's not quite the case. He's gonna see this, though. He's gonna send some sentries down there, be able to shoot at these Zerglings. Oh, and actually, yeah, he's actually using the scouting... Phoenix to be able to spot the high ground for him, so that he can shoot those Zerglings. Zerglings are going to try to run in, but they're going to see they're not going to be able to get in because the Zealot's staying there. We see 4 Roaches, and actually it looks like July is going to go ahead and try to do a little bit of damage, so it's probably a good thing that MOUZMana decided to go for the 3-gate expansion. There's another thing I've been noticed recently, not only on the pro scene, but also on the ladder in general, is that Zerg players are starting to be a lot more aggressive with Roaches. An early 7.5 minute Roach push is starting to become more and more common. I think the thought is that if you can deal some damage and kind of keep your opponent busy, then it's going to be effective, and you can always catch up. And like, look at, he's droning right now. JulyZerg is droning right now as he's doing his attack, and he hasn't really lost any forces. He was able to pick off a pylon and scare the Protoss player into getting more attacking units and not macroing maybe as heavily and getting as many probes. You know, it was very effective in terms of kind of playing around with his opponent, making sure that, you know, he's able to do multiple things, and now he's able to lay down a third. There's been absolutely no pressure on the Zerg player. He's got full saturation at this base, and it looks like full saturation at this base as well. So, you know, he's doing great for economy right now. And actually, if we go to income tab, we see that the Protoss player is not too far behind, although the Zerg player already has his 3rd expansion. That's also a little typical. Zerg players tend to be ahead of an expansion simply because, you know, it's Zerg, and that's how the race is designed to function. So the Protoss players, nobody's really behind at this time, but I do think that it was smart for July to just kind of move out early. That Overseer was trying to go in and scout. He was able to see the Robotics Bay and the Forge, I'm pretty sure both, as long as he clicked on it. Which I'm pretty sure he did. Otherwise, what would be the point of scouting? building or Protoss buildings. And actually, well, oh no, I was gonna say if you might be able to go ahead and pick off that pylon there. We see 10 drones building on the part of JulyZerg. Zerg, unimpeded, is just able to macros up so quickly and get so many harvesters. Like, you really, I feel like as a Terran player, you really need to put pressure on them. Able to pick off a couple of Zerglings there. And putting down his 3rd expansion now. He's moved out to this walkway, and he's going to want to back up there. A little bit better force fields. They're okay. Needs a force field right here, force field. Nope, he's going to keep walking. Oh, barely. Those would have been perfect force fields if they're just a hair closer. And wow, he keeps letting the Roaches in. He's trying to trap them. He was able to kill 1 Roach there. If those Roaches went down here, man, they're going to get trapped, actually. I don't know. I'm not sure if this is a good move. There is no way these Roaches are going to be able to escape. Although they're able to burrow now. Where's the Observer? Observer's coming. Roaches are going to be able to heal up. And they're going to try to slide out of there. He's not going to let them. They don't have tunneling claws yet, so they're not able to slide out under there. And now that the Observer's there, they're going to be able to go ahead and move up. And Protoss player needs to split his forces a little better to be able to stop them from escaping. Force field, cut. There you go. Perfect force fields. 3, 4 Roach kills. Awesome job on the part of MOUZMana, and actually JulyZerg is lucky to have gotten these 4 Roaches out as well. We see a ton of Hydras on the part of JulyZerg coming out. Hydras are extremely effective, of course, against gateway units. Them and the little, like, barbs, that their spines that they fire just deal so much damage. And he's going to go ahead and clean up the four Roaches that were lucky to escape, and the Hydras are going to go ahead and slide up here. This probably caused the Protoss player to back off. Yep, you're going to go ahead and back off. You see the Overlords are actually spewing creep because the Hydras are so slow off the creeps. It's going to make it easy for the Protoss player to escape. Although this is a lot of stalkers on the part of MOUZMana, he might be able to effectively deal with these, and actually JulyZerg is going to head and but that's a lot more Hydras on the way, and they already have attack level 1, of course, the Protoss player does as well, and Immortal's not going to be terribly effective against the Hydras, of course, because the Hydras are not armored, and they attack so quickly that his hardened shield isn't that much protection against them, which, if you look at how fastly he goes down, boom! Already taken out. We see a Colossus on the way, though. The Colossus is going to be very effective. I think July's in a lot of trouble here because he moved up with the Hydras and tried to engage in a time when he probably shouldn't have tried to engage. So actually, he lost a lot of Hydras there. I think he is quite behind in the units lost tab. However, he is ahead on the income tab, even though they have a similar number of harvesters. I think it's because the Protoss player, is transferring drones there. And JulyZerg is going to go ahead and back out. Hydras, when you're engaging with Hydras, there's two things you want to know. First of all, try to put creep onto them. Use Overlords, use a chain of Overlords, that's what Hydra likes to do. Use creep tumors, whatever you can, try to put creep onto them. Number two is if you can't put creep onto them, you need to make sure that you only engage when you can win for sure, because you cannot withdraw with Hydralisk. It's just not going to be able to happen. And now that the Colossus is out, that Colossus is going to deal a lot of damage. Colossuses are very effective against Hydralisks. The Colossus does not have Thermal Lance, and actually Thermal Lance is only halfway done. He is able to stay back, though, out of the group of gateway units. He's able to withdraw a bunch of roaches here to tank the damage from the Colossus and the Stalkers, while the Hydras are able to deal it from behind. They do have their upgrade, so they're range 6 as well. We see a Changeling dropping in. He's going to go ahead and waddle forward. Blah, 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 blah. And I believe a Hallucinated Phoenix that was taken out right there. And that Changeling was not long-lived. We do see 6 Corruptors coming out and weapons level 2. Weapons upgrades are extremely good, by the way, for roaches. They're actually one of the most important things for roaches that you can get, because each upgrade increases the amount of damage they deal by 2. So now instead of 16 damage, they're dealing 20 damage, which means that even with armor upgrades, the armor upgrade doesn't keep pace, because the armor only prevents the damage incoming. Each armor upgrade only prevents the damage incoming by 1. So actually, roaches deal more damage at 3-3 than, like, for example, Stalkers only increase their damage by 1 period. Even so, at 3-3, roaches are actually better than 0-0 against similar units. And JulyZerg is going to go ahead and just slide up all the way. The Corruptors are going to start firing at these Colossus. Unfortunately, their corruptibility is not quite out from cooldown. Able to take out one, but it looks like the Colossus is dealing enough damage before it gets taken out that the Protoss player is going to go ahead and win. He's going to move forward. He's going to start firing at the Hydralisks as they try to get away. He probably doesn't want to be too aggressive here because he doesn't want to lose his other Colossus. The Colossus kind of like siege tanks, and actually he's going to be able to warp in units right on point now. Colossus kind of like siege tanks. He does one more shot. Nice. Able to take out that last Colossus. Great work by JulyZerg. And we see JulyZerg is actually stuck even with his opponent right now. They're both only on 3 bases, which is not a position that the Zerg player wants to be in. If you go to the income tab, we see that the Protoss player is ahead of Harvesters, on top of the fact that they're even. On top of the fact that they're even on number of bases, and the Zerg player always wants to be ahead on number of bases, so JulyZerg should probably try to think about taking a 4th. The issue is he can't afford to spend any money on a 4th because he needs to make sure he can hold off whatever push the Protoss player can kind of push through. Not to use a word multiple, not to use the pun. Little Changeling going to go ahead and morph into a Zealot, walk up, get zapped. Boom! Goodbye, Changeling. Poor Changelings. There's so many that just get spawned and slaughtered. Roaches are going to go ahead and slide out from over there. We do see a Twilight Council coming on MOUZMana's part. The reason for the Twilight Council is that he wants to be able to get ground weapons level 3, I'm pretty sure, and Blink is also extremely effective for Stalkers in this matchup. Blink Stalkers are really good because they're able to, of course, you can blink the front ones forward back, and then like when the Hydras are trying to disengage, you can run away. But we're going to hold that thought. We've only got 4 Corruptors here. That's not going to be enough for 3 Colossus. The Colossus are going to do a lot of damage before they're able to fight. These nice micromanagement on the part of MOUZMana, able to do that, but on the other hand, JulyZerg was able to move the Roaches forward and able to take pot shots against the Colossus. However, they took too much damage from the Zealots and the Stalkers at the time, and it looks like JulyZerg is actually going to lose this game, and MOUZMana is going to take game 1. Alright, and we'll be moving on to game 2. This is PGO Milncraft signing off.